so on the subject of what the heck, like Tannenbaum, he released his mock draft, and one key point, unlike most others, Mikey T is not predicting what teams will do with the pick. As a former GM, he's projecting each pick based off of what he would do. Why not? It's his mock draft. He has a quarterback being selected with each of the first 4 picks. That surprise there is at number 4, where Mike has the Cardinals taking J.J. McCarthy. Mina, what do you think of that?
Oh, Mike, you are wild. Some of these ideas. Let's talk about it. I would not do this for a couple of reasons if I was Arizona. First, I'll say, I thought Kyler Murray played good football when he came back from his injury last year, particularly as the season went on. You saw him in a new, very different offense. And despite the lack of skill talent around him, you have like an ascendant tight end and Trey McBride, a good run game, but they obviously still needed wide receivers. I still thought he looked good, and there's a chance for him to look even better and return to the highs we saw earlier in his career. But setting that aside, even if you were to trade Kyler, I guess, in this scenario, J.J. McCarthy would be entering an extraordinarily difficult situation for a young quarterback. This roster is still really devoid of talent, which, by the way, is why I think they should probably consider trading down from that pick if they can get a haul for a quarterback. But if you were to stay there, even if you were to get some draft capital in exchange for Kyler, let's say, the 11th pick from Minnesota or whatnot, you're still not getting one of the top 3 receivers. This is arguably the worst receiver group in the NFL right now. So you'd be putting J.J. McCarthy in this team that's really devoid of talent, with your number 1 being a young receiver, and he's not one of the 3 best receivers. I just feel like you would be setting him up to fail, personally.
What do you have to say for yourself, Mike?
Yeah, I understand Mina's points. I thought Kyler Murray played really well, but here's the facts for me. He's 6 years younger than Kyler Murray. And more importantly, if you look at Kyler Murray's contract over the next 2 years, he has roughly $70 million guaranteed. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is at roughly $8.5 million, I don't think Kyler Murray's going to play $27.5 million per year better than J.J. McCarthy. And then from a durability standpoint, typically over time, as a player gets older, they don't get more durable. Kyler Murray hasn't played a full season since 2020. So if I could be younger, $27.5 million cheaper per year and more durable, I'm going to go with J.J. McCarthy, even though I know I need other pieces, as Mina alluded to.
I just left out one other thing, which is you negate some of the advantages of having the quarterback on the rookie contract because of the dead cap hit from trading Kyler Murray. You could spread it out over June 1st, I realize, but that would be a pretty significant hit in year 2, Mike. So that was the other thing that I left out.
So listen, and here's a look at kind of really all the backstory of all of this. There's a projected trade in Mikey T's mock draft in which the Cardinals send Kyler Murray and a 3rd-round pick to the Vikings. The Cardinals receive the 11th pick, where Mike has them taking Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo, who I know is one of Mina's very favorite players. This is really interesting, Dan.
I just don't. So usually I never disagree with Mina. I completely disagree with Mina that if you're Arizona, don't do this.
Ooh.
I think if you're Arizona, you would love to do this. I just don't think anyone's going to trade for Kyler. In a realistic world, I don't think anyone's going to trade for Kyler. I don't think anyone's going to trade for his contract. I think he's top 10 in salary cap hit for the next 5 years with his contract. So I think the Arizona Cardinals are kind of stuck with that deal, right? If you're Minnesota.
But Dan, hold on a second. You could get $35 million a year for Kyler Murray. You just let Kirk Cousins walk out at $45 million a year, and you're 9 years younger. So
I just don't think he fits the style of offense that.
But I agree with Mina. I thought Kyler played well, and if I'm Minnesota, I can look. Kyler Murray may not be Kirk Cousins, but at $10 million a year cheaper, I want to at least look at that.
He's got to be able to finish the season. He's got to be able to stay healthy, and they haven't done anything in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I just think if you're Minnesota, you would prefer to go up to 2 to try to get Jaden Daniels, if not, a JJ or a Drake. I do think Mina's point of the wide receiver group in Arizona is paramount. No group in the NFL has less NFL catches than Arizona does. I think there's one team who has a 600-yard receiver on their team. It's New England, and Arizona doesn't. Hollywood Brown was their leading receiver. He's obviously with the Chiefs now. So the roster is still needing. The interesting thing is this: if they stay there, let's say the trade doesn't happen, who do they pick? You know, because do they trade back, to Mina's point? Who jumps up? Do they take Romo Dunze because he reminds you of DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah, that's a great question. Mina, who do you think they should take at number 4 if they stay there? What would you like to see them do?
I would go with Harrison Jr. Just to me, he is a player who comes in and that's your offense. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. You build the entire thing around him. I would love to see him play with Kyler. To me, that's just such an upgrade for that room. But I think for the trade down, it's funny. Again, you can go to the Vikings there. Let's say you were to just trade down to 11 if you're Arizona. Then you're kind of out of the range of the big 3 receivers, but potentially you have so many needs on that roster. The ability to add another first-round pick would be pretty tantalizing.
I love that. They need volume. Trade back. Maybe you get lucky. Maybe a Dunze is there. But Hannah, if not,
He won't be.
you get volume. Maybe you get another one next year. I think that's where Arizona needs to go.
Yeah,
I would totally disagree with that again as well. If you're going to stay at 4, you take one of the big receivers.
Yeah,
You
and
trade back to 11.
You're not going to get them. Those 3 kids will be gone.
You guys
They'll be
done?
gone.
Can we go to commercial now?
Okay.